My cabbages!
Low, man.
Ah, my cabbages!
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
What's up, everybody? Oh boy, I scuffed it there. I was too small. What's up, everybody? Hope you guys are doing well. Of course, this is Legal Mindset. We teach you to be your own judge. I'm Andrew Esquire here early today. Yeah, that's right. A little bit of scuff because I wasn't as large man in the beginning there, but I'm here on time. Actually, a little bit early. So it's good to see everybody up in the house today. Today, of course, we're going to be talking about Somali's defense. I'm going to be defending Johnny Somali. We're doing it today. That is, I love how many people thought that was clickbait. No, we're actually going to be doing it, but I'm going to tell you how we're going to be talking about this today. And why we're going to be talking about this today, of course. And as always, there will be a fast facts version. It's already up. If you just hang out in the chat, you're going to be redirected to that afterwards. So you'll be able to check that out afterwards. If you want a summarized version, although it's actually a pretty long video, it's almost 19 minutes. So it's on the longer side, the long man side. But it's still a summary compared to these streams, because I know these streams, a 19-minute condensed video will be a hour and a half stream. So that's just how we work out. It's just how we roll here. But good to see everybody in the house here today. Shout out to you guys wherever you are in the world. If you're in Asia, America, Europe, down under. If you're in New Zealand, which is really just part of Australia, it's really the same thing. South America, in North America, wherever you guys are, hope you're doing well. Hope you're having a great time with your friends, your family, and your loved ones out there in the world. Mr. Melancholy, gift in 1 Legal Mindset membership. Thank you so much. Warren A. Gift in 5. Thank you, Warren. And I hope you guys noticed my new reaction clip. I do like this new one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And I do like the edit with the cabbage news in the bottom right. Also, a little bit of a spoiler. Let me play this. Let me play this clip here.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
So I may or may not have an interview with the guy who landed that punch. I may or may not be interviewing the guy who landed that punch. I am hoping we can do it as an IRL stream because that'll be freaking awesome. An IRL, not a stream, but a recorded video. Of course, I'm gonna guarantee his anonymity, but that will be pretty awesome. So then I'll have interviewed almost everybody who's punched Johnny Somali, which is pretty interesting. Okay, we have Ewu Inu, who said, "Good morning, Legal Scuff." Says, "Shout out to the crew, shout out to everybody, and shout out to the SCT, the Somali Conviction Team. They've been doing a lot of work, working overtime, so appreciate them much. Mock. Brandon for 5 says, "Good morning, Legal." In fact, today I'm gonna talk about what separates me from Legal. I have a little PowerPoint. We have a very large PP today. Our PowerPoint is very large. But we're going to talk about that. What separates that? And spoiler alert, it's pretty obvious. Neko Girl 862. It's spoiler alert. It's not just my height, right? Because Devin Legal Eagle's like 5'2", and I'm 6'6", or 2 meters in the international measurement. Oh boy, time for our daily dose of vitamin C. The C being cabbages. Yeah, that's right. Lewis Cali says based and late and gay. No, I was on time and early. Planny for 499 says, wait a second. Are you finally supporting an insanity plea? No, that is not his best defense, and that is not a good defense. Anybody mentioning insanity plea today will be sent into the mines That's it. Straight one-way ticket to the mines for any mentioning of the insanity plea. Also, thank you to whoever did the swear jar emoji. I haven't had a chance to upload that. I'm going to experiment with that. But whoever created that on X and sent that to me, thank you so much. I'm going to be uploading that next stream. So it's not for this one, but thank you. Melissa Artemis for 20,000 Indonesian rupiah. By the way, if you guys can create good, anybody can create good emojis and you want to send them in and they look good, I'll put them up. I'll use them. Like if you guys have something you want to include and you send it in and it's something that the people wanted, I'll include it, especially if it's cute, like a cabbage. Mighty for 2 says, how do you defend Somali? You don't. Well, we're gonna try today. We're gonna try. 1 minute early. What's happening? What was happening? Well, what really happened is I wanted to start at 8 o'clock, but I was actually feeling pretty sick. So I about at 7:30, I bumped it to 8:30. So I was a little bit early, but not too early. Robert Von Beek for 20. Thank you so much for the generosity and for being a great supporter. Thank you. It gives Ramsey.
Emotional cabbage.
Circadian Izzy says defending him. We got illegal mindset here. No, it's not illegal to state a defense. And I will say this. I am all for fairness and I'm all for people being able to have their fair shake in court. And even Ramsey, even the scummiest of the scummy IRL streamers deserves his due process and his fair day in court. And so far, he has had every opportunity that every criminal defendant in Korea would have. There's been nothing that he has been denied so far. In fact, every time he asked for a delay because his lawyers need more time, he's been granted it. So he's gotten a ton of due process. King Lugia gifted 1 Legal Mindset membership. Kapakuro says, Johnny openly threatened violence. Is that enough to lock him up? I don't want to wait for a victim of shenanigans to hurt. It's difficult because some of the people he threatened, like, for example, Moxie, did not file a police report and did not report that immediately. If you are threatened, you should go in immediately and you want that pursuit should go in immediately to that station. And even if they do, it's not necessary that they will take him and lock him up just because of a threat. It's possible they might still leave him out. So once again, Korea's presumption is that you are free until the day that you are sentenced and sent to jail. That's just the presumption that is given in Korea. PyXEL says, if it's RKI's sleep paralysis demon, the long man with the big pee-pee. Aww.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no. Oh, hell no.
Speaking of hell no, let me show you guys this real quick before we go anywhere else. I wanted to play this little clip here because it's kind of funny how Johnny Somali thought by now he was going to be gone. He thought actually he was going to be out of Korea, and it's very, very funny how this, which was taken in March, is now so inaccurate. Just let's pay attention here.
It sounds like within a month though you could be out of here.
It is a possibility.
That was in March. March, or even in April, it still would be just as inaccurate.
I mean, like if everything goes well with the thing, then it should just kind of be resolved, and you should be able to. You've got your passport still, so you should.
Right here.
Yeah,
And I love how he tried to pretend that the passport is the thing that's stopping him. It's not the passport that's stopping him at all. It's the fact that he has a travel ban and ongoing criminal investigation. So very funny, Johnny, how you thought you were going to be going somewhere. And indeed, Cabbage Boy, you ain't going nowhere. And make sure you guys go and smash that like button because we have to counteract Johnny's one dislike on this stream because that needs to go in a different direction. Renzu says for 50, legal mindset defending RKI is akin to pleading insanity. Oh, God. QB says legal mindset after collecting all the interviews of people that have punched RKI after these months. Finally, I have them all. Yes, it's like collecting Pokemon. I collect all the interviews. Salem's Kaiju says, hi, I'm currently on vacation in Japan and visited one of the statues that RK disrespected. It's my first time here and I'm loving it. Can't believe RK's disrespectful actions. Keep the going. Cool. You're in Japan, though, not Korea. So obviously he did disrespectful stuff in Japan as well, right? And in Korea, both places. Patrick Elsa says, hey, do you know the Legal Eagle channel was biased? Who'd have thunk? Anyways, glad to catch you live. We're going to talk about that. I'll bring up the Eagle specifically. I'll bring up Devin specifically. Don't worry. I got a special place for Devin. Rare Recruit says to Johnny, do not claim you have anything on Andrew. Forced him to do this. Stop stroking your streamer. You go, this is just being fair. Plus, your legal defense is pitiful. Just be quiet and take notes. Johnny just needs to sit in the corner and just sit in the corner and watch, Johnny. Just watch. Rayobi says, yes. We'll play that one. We'll play that one for you. Yes. Bob says, does that mean when you conduct that interview with the legend in the clip, you'll pull no punches with the questions? That's a good one. I will pull 0 punches. New F Jim says, Johnny, Somali, and Hank on stream trying to imply the only reason I live is to flee something. Yeah, once again, we're going to talk about this today. Actually, and this is actually my PowerPoint. Let me just pull this up right here. The majority of the things that the fans say and the defense of Johnny, actually, I'll pull it up later because I don't want to spoil too much. I don't like to give away spoilers. But I will show you guys the PowerPoint here. I'll show you the first page, just the first page. The majority of most of the nuisance streamers, when they commit crimes, by the way, most of them are actual criminals. Like, that's just clear. They are actual criminals with clear criminal records. But most of them, their defense to anything they do wrong is, but this person is bad too. And that's an internet thing. That's a general internet thing. They think it gets the attention off of them and gets them out if they point the finger. And to be fair, if it's a pure drama battle and it's a battle of drama, that can sometimes work. And these IRL streamers are very used to creating and manufacturing drama, right? They're like the Real Housewives. Right? They're just, it's all drama, right? And some people love drama. Some people like popcorn and drama, and that's all good stuff. But here's the thing. When it comes to the law, that doesn't work. Pointing the finger and saying, but this is a bad man too, or this person's bad, is not going to get you off the hook, Cabbage Boy. You're the one who's locked up. You're the one who can't leave the country. You're the one who's got 7 criminal charges in Korea against you. 7, Cabbage Boy. And your boy here, 0, right? In fact, just like I said, I have to do criminal background checks for my visas. I just did one for Korea, Thailand, and the U.S. Surprising that they are all completely clean, and that I would not be able to live here as an expat business owner if I had a rap sheet the size of Texas. That's not something you can do if you are living there legally with a visa, particularly in also living in Korea, which I lived for 3 years. You do have to be indeed squeaky clean, and that is something that they are not, right? But that said, Scientific Fanfic says, do you think that refusing to sign a contract that takes away your at-will status qualifies as constructive termination dismissal? This is a very specific question. It's going to depend on your state. I don't know what state you're in, and it really depends. I know it's a lawyer answer, but still. Rigo says, are you saying your PP is large when in reality it's just average? No, this is a large PP. I've seen other PPs. This one's large. D. Uri for 5 pounds says, it's my birthday today and I saw you went live. It's a gift. Hey, thank you. Glad you're enjoying your birthday. Matt Davis said, insanity plea, more like stupidity plea. James Beeching says, does arcade defense include straws and clutching? Mike Burke says, donate to the Ramsey Khalid Ismail vasectomy fund. Oh, I know he's been getting trolled with that recently. And him and Hank are breaking down. I don't know if you've seen it, but I think Hank had a stroke here. And I'm going to turn off the language because, by the way, their nasty language is getting us age restricted. And that's something that I got from YouTube. So I really have to be careful with audio with these guys. But you can see here, I'm going to mute this. Hank almost has a stroke with how mad he is. Look at this. He's stuttering. Look at this face. He is stuttering and stroking out almost there in rage. The little piggy is just not doing so good. It's really hurting him, and it's hurting his bank account too, because he's now got to take care of Johnny Somali for a long time. Yeah, he's shaking, he's convulsing, he's stuttering. It's not looking good for Hanky Poo. B. Bryant says, keep up the good work. I hope it gets laws changed everywhere for nuisance streamers. Welcome from Virginia, Florida. Virginia is for lovers. It's great. Big Buddha says, now we need a Pokemon Gym badge style emotes with a fist on it. Oh, that'd be cool. Torek Roma says, legal takedown. Heck yeah, 100% cooked. Jordan says, the only place RKI is going around and around the drain more month by month. Exactly. He's circling it and digging himself deeper. Michael Turner for 5 says, the classic beholding the moat in Andrew's eye whilst ignoring the cabbage in thine own. I love that. That's a great Bible quote, by the way. Do not do not look at the speck in your neighbor's eye when you have a plank in your own. Fallen Heretic for 5 Oz says, here's hoping RKI gets humbled. A lot of people say they do hope he learns. And, even good people that want him to change and learn understand sometimes you need the punishment in order to get to the point at which you are ready to recover and that you're ready to get better, right? That you're ready to improve your life and you're ready to do things differently. He's not there yet. He's just not there yet. Grumpy Centaur for 5. Thank you so much for 5. And they are flipping out. And because they're flipping out,
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
there we go. We got him, boys. We got him. Let's see here too. And actually, you know what? I can take off the headphones today. Some people have suggested I do that more often. But yeah, no, I don't need them today because I don't have any more audio. I think I'm good. Sob Fan 86 says, thanks for the coverage. Makes my broken arm more bearable, as well as the fact that I can still visit Korea and go back home, unlike RKI. Oof. He's feeling that one.
Emotional damage.
Big emotional damage on that. Also, Scientific Fanfiction for 5 says, thank you. Good enough lawyer answer. Did not tell me I was an idiot. So I feel better about lawyering up. No, but listen, I have to say that it's irresponsible for you to give an answer as a lawyer and act like you know it all when you don't. And that's part of what I enjoyed about being corporate counsel for my time as corporate counsel. And still I do represent some corporations and individuals, right? And the thing is that when you are thinking about issues, it's better to be honest and say, I don't know, let me go ask somebody. That's what I would do. And there's lots of areas of law that are not my specialty, but I can research it, or I can go ask a friend. I can phone a friend, right? That's what you do. The whole Ramzi Khalid Ismail case, I'm not a Korean lawyer. I'm not. I've never pretended to be. However, I know Korean lawyers. I know many. I dated a Korean lawyer. I have friends that have experience in the Korean legal system. The Somali conviction team is made up of people with connections to people that are in the law. One of Dr. Alwick's close friends is a retired judge, right? We have a lot of people on the Somali conviction team with legal ties. So there's a lot of information that we're getting. Before I did this episode, I actually made a phone call to a lawyer in Korea and asked a question. This is the whole point. The whole point is that I'm not the expert at everything, but I'm a good quarterback in getting this information out and sharing it with you and putting it in a very simple, entertaining, and educational manner. Robert Von Beek for 11 said, I never laughed so hard at the clickbait channels with those crash outs to RKI about your reports. Glad we have a channel that distinguishes suspicion from facts. Good job, LM, and the coverage. Yeah, and here's another one, too. Let me get this one. Let me do 2 here that I want to talk about here. This is as a prelude. So, Hank, Ramsey, and their Discord, they made a deep fake of Ramsey and Hank kissing. So it was the 2 of them kissing. It's clearly a deep fake because Hank's arm looks ridiculous. It looks like a chicken, like a chicken drumstick. But they tried to send it to my email. And obviously what they were hoping was that I streamed it, because that would, if I was in Korea, which I'm not, I'm in Thailand, I'm in the Kingdom of Thailand, in Bangkok, and they were probably hoping I would stream it, which they would, I guess, use as a crime against me. Even though I'm not in Korea, it'd be really weird to try to do that. Whatever. I'm not dumb, and I'm not going to show a deep fake, right? So I didn't do it. And because of that, well, there's nothing there. But it's really low IQ. It's sort of low IQ thing they did. Another low IQ thing I've seen some people talking about Gino being extradited to Korea. And I think this is from another channel. I'm not sure which, and I don't really care. It's just bad information. You guys need to be very careful with other information, especially some of the channels are using AI to generate their stuff, and it doesn't really always make sense, and it doesn't actually know the law. It just kind of generates some slop, or they'll pick up some stuff and make assumptions. So be very careful with that. Gino is not going to get extradited. Extraditing takes millions of dollars. So yeah, that's not happening. So if anybody did that, then yeah, that's just BS. All right, so let's get past that part there, and let me get some more of these super chats. New F Jim says, sorry, Andrew, I don't mean their personal attacks on you, just your inability to appreciate the ability to live and to travel. Yeah, and by the way, I know you guys are on my side, and you guys are backing me up, but if I see any super chats that are about doxing or personal attacks, I'm not going to read them. I don't give it breath. That's my general strategy. It's been my strategy on this channel for 3 years, or 2 or 3 years. I've changed, but at first I would address it, but I realized that the best place is literally to ignore it, because it really doesn't bother me. They can say whatever they want to say. It doesn't change my coverage. So I don't bring it up. So if you guys bring it up in a super chat, thank you for the super chat. I'm not going to read it. So just understand, it's not personal against you, and you may be a longtime donor or whatever. I'm just not going to read it because I don't give their stuff breath, right? It's not worth the air from my lungs. That's how valueless it is. Ryobi said, is it just me, or was Hank red and seething like a boiled crab? Probably due to Johnny's gooey duck, ain't it? Ain't doing it right for poor old hairy crab. That, or he's tired of the pink frost donut being glazed. I'm just gonna. I gotta turn on the AC here. But while I do that, I'll leave you with a Ramsey.
Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Oh hell no! Oh hell no!
Okay, AC's back on, and got some water too. But yeah, no, that's an intense image there, intense mental image. Lewis Cali says Hank's stress eating is looking more apparent. Oh Lord, he's getting thick. He is a little bit of a thick boy. Isaac's says the reason I stopped liking Legal is that he's an advocate, not a legal educator. He argues for one side of the issue by downplaying the other, mostly brings up counters to argue against them. And that's fine if that's what you want to be. But one of the reasons I got on YouTube was because I saw Legal doing that, and I thought it's not fair. It's a misrepresentation of the law. It's fine to have opinions. I have an opinion. I have things I agree with and things I disagree with. I have political leanings, right? But I try to remove that from my content in terms of the educational portion. Sometimes for the entertainment portion, I can kind of let that slip out, and my my opinions, feelings about stuff comes through, right, in the entertainment portion. But for the educational side, I try to be intellectually honest, even in times where I strongly disagree personally with the law. There's many laws that I'm opposed to, but I'm not going to lie about how that law is applied, even if I hate it, even if it's a law that I am morally strongly opposed to. I will tell you this is how the law works. And whether I like it or not doesn't change the function of that law. And that's big into Ramsey's case today. It actually goes to some of Ramsey's defenses. Ramsey's defenses come down to, I don't like this. These people are bad. These people are worse than me. These other people did it too. That doesn't work. It's your feelings. It's not the facts, and it's not the process. Digital TA says I also changed location in the logarithm? Okay, thank you. Sailor Moon for 5 Canadian says, I love watching Hanky Poo try to be a tough guy. My husband and I break out laughing each time. Yeah, a lot of people wonder, like, the making fun of Hank is largely because of his tough guy act. He he ironically has a channel. He literally calls himself, I am not making this up, Hank the Tank.
Emotional cabbage.
The only tank he is a tank full of hot air. Let me get these here. We've got B. Brian with 10 Legal Mindset memberships. Thank you. Grumpy Centaur with another 10. And Fallen Hero 4567 with 5. Thank you for the 10, Grumpy Centaur and B. Brian. And thank you for the 5, Fallen Hero. Appreciate that. Very, very, very based.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Solid clip. Solid clip. Thank you, guys. Michael Rua says, when Seneca said we suffer more in imagination than in reality, Ramsey wasn't born yet. Sigrun, attorney for 3 months, says, the first step in admitting you have a problem, even if Johnny is admitting you have a problem, I agree. Even if Johnny could get better, he won't unless he acknowledges. Exactly. And I say that, for example, in the case of Nick Rekieta, famous, you fallen YouTube lawyer, I said that, the basic thing I haven't heard or really never heard in that saga was him taking full responsibility and admitting there's a problem. And when you go there and you accept it and you say, no, there's a serious problem, I have a genuine serious problem that I'm going to take seriously and address seriously, then people can give you grace and forgiveness. He's never done that, and he's certainly never been sincere about it. Jordan Joestar, for one, thank you so much. Rayobi, for $13.99, says, wait, they were deep faking RK and Hanky Poo making out? Yes, I saw it. I had to see it. We all know since the beginning, but hey, Ramsey, don't be a Niji sister. Post that pic. It might be true. I think it's going to go up on X, so you'll probably see it on X. Mashup Mike says, you dated a Korean lawyer. What was his name? Hold on. I got a clip for you. An anime girl has something to say to you about this.
Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you! Fuck you!
It's cuter when it comes from an anime girl. All right. Let's see here. RKI is now saying he's on a redemption arc in behaving. Do you think it's a strategy and that will help him? If he's on a redemption arc, he should plead guilty to everything. That would be a redemption arc. That would actually be the redemption arc. James Breaching for £10 says 100% punishment can work. In Britain, we had an annoying nuisance streamer called Mixie who eventually got locked up for 6 months. He now has a proper job and stopped being a twat. It does work. It does work. Sakurade for 50 says, hi from Sweden. Really, RKI should have calmly bara badat bastu instead of doing such stupid stuff. Blind Man Travels for $4.99 says, news streamers make it bad for travel content creators. We just want to show food and culture. Yeah, and there's a lot of awesome channels that do food and culture, especially here in Thailand. There's some amazing food channels that people get millions of views, way beyond me or Ramsey, right? Way more views. Christian 99 says, good evening, Mr. Legal Cabbage. Hey. Gibo for 2 Oz says, news streamers should take a note. Probably won't. Bigaloo's for 50,000 dong. If Johnny was in Vietnam, he'll get jail in no time. By the way, love your video. Love from Vietnam. Hey, shout out to Vietnam. Love Vietnam. I need to check out Da Nang and Hanoi. That's my next targets over there. I've been to Ho Chi Minh City. Scruff Dog for 10 says, Hank the Tank. Can we call him Tanky Poo? I like that. And then Rigo says, and we'll continue after this, Hank the Tank, he may have some more in common with Slavic Special Ed and their special military operation, or West Taiwan. They're all paper tigers. Oh, also, Tom Johnson says for 50 Norwegian krona, I live in a motorhome and I can go where I want, whenever I want, unlike the future cabbage expert RK. Freedom 10, fantastic. Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'll plan on going back to the U.S. I was going to go in July, maybe August. We're going to see. So I'm going to be back in the U.S. Soon. I'll be traveling to Japan, many other places. So I'm looking forward to my travels. It's going to be pretty crazy. I will also be back in Korea at some point in the future. Not giving that away, not doxing that. Razor-kun for 7. Thank you. 7, that's a new member. Welcome. And Grumpy Centaur says, love what you're doing, brother. Keep it up. Let's do it. Let's get into it. So right here, we got my disclaimer. So my disclaimer for today is this is not legal advice. This is not actually legal advice. So Ramsey, shut up. It's not legal advice. We're doing a little fun adventure thing today. Just it's not legal advice. I am not a Korean lawyer. I talk to Korean lawyers, but I am not a Korean lawyer. I've not passed the bar in Korea at all. By the way, neither is Hank. Hank thinks he's a Korean lawyer. He really does. He truly believes he's a Korean lawyer. He actually said on tape, we actually reviewed this, that I am representing Johnny. You're not. You're not only not a lawyer, you could barely speak any language. You're barely evolved past a Neanderthal. Missing some chromosomes there, Hanky Poo. Let's see. Kierna says Rittenhouse Heard trials were crazy, but RKI, oh, this is even crazier. This is way crazier. Jordan Joestar for 125 Philippine peso says Hanky Poo is all bark but no bite. And Mabuhay Legal Mindset, you're the best. Hey, thank you. Mabuhay right back. Also, Vitaly is crying for help inside a Filipino prison. Yeah, and he's whining and his fans are whining, but all their whining and their barking ain't going to do anything and ain't going to get him out of jail. All their false machismo, right? Their fake alpha stuff. That's not going to work. They're all, these paper alphas. Fallen Heretic for 5 says the only Hank the Tank I'm willing to accept is the big ass brown bear, the same name. Puka Darling says I need an emotional support cabbage plushie. That would be cute. That would be cute.
Emotional cabbage.
Also, HR Hacken said for 50, after a hospital for the week with a wrecked heart, I'm still better than RKI. When will you release emotional support cabbage plushies? I really got to get on that. I've really tried to get on that. All right. Also, this is a good question here before I continue with this disclaimer. Kettlefire Charmer Hilta says, is it possible to forward RKI's deepfake email of himself and Hank to the prosecutor and add it to the list of charges? Yes, I can do this. They can trace the email. So yes, I can do that. It is very possible for me to do that. Indeed. Once again, he digs himself in deeper over and over and over. Spark says, can we file an amicus curiae briefs with the South Korean court? Yes, that is what we are doing at the Somali conviction team. And if you want to support us doing that, it's not an amicus curiae. We're actually submitting evidence that shows a lot of his degenerate behavior. And if you want to support that, you go over to my Ko-Fi and you can drop some love and some support there for the Somali conviction team that goes directly to us with a lot less cut than YouTube takes, which is why I advertise this, because it's a lot more profitable than the other way around. And we can help out in those filings and in getting things done. So that's something that we are doing. We are actively doing that. Yes. Uncle Brat said, cabbage plushies for the win. Thank you. Let's see. All right. So let's go back to this PP, the PowerPoint. So obviously he needs to follow his lawyer. He has a Korean lawyer. Ramsey Cletus Smile has a Korean lawyer. Follow his lawyer's advice and trust his counsel. So do what your lawyer says, Ramsey. But let's start. What's today's agenda? An educational and entertaining look at defenses brought up by Ramsey, Hank, and Ramsey's few fans. Literally, I think he has 2 basement dwellers, like somewhere in their grandma's basement in, wherever, right? Lake Wobegon, like they're somewhere out there, and they are, and they bring up, the same tired 1 or 2 things, but we're going to address them today. Also, I'm going to examine some possible defenses that I thought of and that others have mentioned. Also, I am going to be ignoring ad hominem. So, like I said, a lot of the defense, in fact, I would say 99.9% of what comes out of Hank's mouth or Johnny's mouth or any of their fans' mouths is just personal attacks ad hominem. It's just nasty shit about other people. And they think that's a defense. They think that's going to get them out of something. It doesn't. So I just lump all of that together in, it's not really a defense, so we're just don't address it. I don't do it as a policy. So yeah, we're not going to do that. But that is, by the way, the majority of what they say. Due process. Let's start with due process. So what is due process? Due process means fairness, but not just fairness alone. It is fairness in accordance with established rules and principles. Now, I love due process. I love it because it's objective with guidelines that allow for some interpretation. There's guidelines that are objective. There's these boundaries that are objective. There's a border that's objective. But what goes on within that can be interpreted. It's great. It's fantastic. I actually really love that system, and it's something I deeply believe in. There are people that tend to think or might think that due process means fairness broadly. And I would call out legal here, because I think his concept of due process is fairness without rules or procedure. It's just general fairness. It's fairness like a child that cries and says, "Wah, that's not fair. You took my toy." But the parent says, "No, I took your toy because you did something bad, because you hit your sister or hit your brother." And what might not seem fair to the child taking the toy is fair in the eyes of a parent. So fairness can be subjective, but where it becomes objective and where it becomes due process is when you have these established rules and principles. And here's the thing. Those principles are based on the legal tradition. And it's the legal tradition of the country you're from. which is based on your culture, your language, your history, your government, your economic system, if you even have a government, right? If you're in a lawless land, then obviously what is due process is going to be judge, jury, and executioner, right? It's going to be like Western, like Wild West justice. Due process in the Wild West was maybe meeting in the, town square or at the OK Corral. So just understand that. Now, I do believe that every criminal defendant anywhere in the world deserves some form of due process. However, they only deserve the due process of the country in which they're in. They deserve no more, no less than the due process of the country they are in. If you have a problem, if you at home, or anybody, nuisance streamers, Johnny Somali, Ramsey Khalid Ismail, Vitali, Ice Poseidon, all these guys, if they have a problem with a country and its due process, don't go there. Don't go to a country and then complain about the laws and the rules and the procedure. You chose to go there. Stay home. If you are only happy in Europe or America or Canada and you only like that there, stay there. Do not come to the country and then complain about the rules. It happens a lot, for example, in Japan, where a lot of people will come to Japan and they will work there or stay there long term, and they will complain about the way things are done in Japan. That is obnoxious. That is annoying. Go home. Stay home. Those people will never make it long term. I see those people who come over, maybe they work as a English teacher for a year or two, whatever, and they go home because they cannot take the rules and the way things are. But guess what? You're not going to change those rules. You're not going to change the culture, and you're not going to change the due process. If you are not liking a law in a country and it impacts you, don't go. Don't go. And to Ramsey, because he says, oh, Korea's bad, Korea's this and that. You chose to go to Korea knowing what it was. There's people that complain about the Philippines. They're saying, well, Vitali in the Philippines. Vitali chose, and we got Vitali right here. Here he is being told to shut up by Ramula, who's like holding his hand up. Because Vitali thought he had the right to speak. He didn't. It's a press conference. He doesn't have any rights to speak. He doesn't have any rights to press time. And they're telling him to shut the hell up because it's not his right. His right is he can remain silent and face his trial in 2 to 3 years. Simple as that. Simple as that. Yeah, talk to the hand because no one gives a shit, Vitali. No one gives a shit. And Vitali thought he could come to another country and violate their rules and not follow their due process. That's not how it works. By the way, no country is necessarily the best. Just like with Vitali, who he's being handled differently than Somali. We've talked about that. Much differently than Somali. Much, much differently than Somali. That doesn't mean one is better. What it means is the Philippine culture crafted the system in the Philippines. It comes from their legal tradition, from their history, from their culture, and from their government, etc. In Korea, they crafted theirs. America crafted theirs. Japan crafted theirs. It's not better. It's better for the people of that country. The Korean system, I would argue, is more appropriate for Korea than an American system is for Americans, or Germany is for Germans, or China is for China, or Russia is for Russia. Each country makes its own system. And that doesn't mean the systems are perfect, and that doesn't mean they can't be improved. And that doesn't mean there's not stuff you can work on. But it's crafted for that country. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. Don't screw up. Don't be Vitali. Let me get a couple of these super chats here. Shane Armstrong for 20 said, I mostly agree with your point on due process, but there are outlier cases where governments grow corrupt or authoritarian and change the laws for citizens who can't leave. Not really relevant. I'm going to say the old adage, the exception doesn't prove the rule. There are exceptions, and there are times at which that may be true. An exception, one instance of something, doesn't mean that should generally apply. If this was a very exceptional circumstance and this was a sympathetic person and they made a genuine mistake, then there might be a difference. So, for example, if a person made a genuine mistake and they stopped a ride at Lotte World and Lotte World sued them, I would be sympathetic to him. In the case of Vitali, if Vitali, I'm trying to think of something he did. If he instead of stealing stealing a fan, he took like a banana that he thought was free, but it wasn't. And he took it and it really was stealing. But it was like a case in which it was like a banana that was left out at a hotel and he thought it was part of the continental breakfast. He thought it was part of the free breakfast, but it wasn't. And he got charged with stealing. That would be more sympathetic, an accident. That's not what happened. In fact, what happened was not only not an accident, it was pre-planned, and it was pre-planned for clout and money and attention, which is exactly what's the case for Vitaly and Somali and all these news streamers. They do it ahead of time intentionally. So yeah, no sympathy there. Eagle Gallon says that's a short. Hey, awesome. Michael Rua says it's like acting surprised when Spanish people taking a siesta 2 to 4. Yeah, and that's part of their culture. And napping is also big here in Thailand. I nap all the time. I love it, and there's no problem with it. Napcation. I like the nap culture. I like siestas too. I often will take a siesta if I'm tired, for sure. It makes sense in a hot country because that's the hottest part of the day. So, if you can work a little bit more in the evening or morning and not work in the hottest part of the day, it makes sense. There's a lot of logic to a siesta. Thank you, Jay, for becoming a member. Bob says Hank losing his many cases in the U.S. counts as legal experience, the same way Katy Perry's an astronaut with a Blue Origin flight. Yeah, Hank thinks he's a lawyer because of grandpappy and because he's a loser. Celeste says, I've had a stroke before. It would be an act of mercy for the universe if Hank had one. All this makes me want to do is learn Korean. Love from Winter Park. Well, let's start with Kamsamnida for that super chat. Ryobi said, by the way, remember when Niji sisters were trying to ban the word sister as derogatory, like RKI DCMAing channels talking about him, which has never worked. It's failed whenever he's done it. King Luigi said, Hank equals down. No, it insults the actual downs. Incoherent Screaming says, can he get in trouble for deepfaking himself? He could if he shows it on stream. I don't think he showed it on stream yet. Coyote said, are you aware of the destructive TikToker world of teachers? Yes, I've covered him on this channel. I also will probably cover the Wes Watson trial. So if you guys are interested in that one, I probably will cover the Wes Watson trial because I know that's coming up. So that might be some interesting little tidbit and other stuff I cover. Once again, I do cover other things. Civ3 says, you missed my previous chat. Please read it. I go through at a order that is my own mind. I go from highest to lowest and most relevant as well. So if I see a really relevant one, I'll ask it right away. And obviously if somebody gives more, then that will be the priority. That's just the most equitable way to make sure it's fair that everybody kind of gets what they paid for with super chats. So understand that I will get back to yours eventually. That's just my system. Norbert Froelich says for 10, Guten Tag, Legal Mindset. We know RKI stays with Hank in South Korea, but what's his status in the U.S.? He is banned. He cannot go to the U.S. So Hank cannot go to the U.S. Sorry. RKI, I don't know. CNN had an article on deepfakes in Korea. Ooh, I'll need to check that out. Mr. Flex, thanks for the $5 super sticker. DeFluffyCat says, I have friends that think a U.S. passport is a get out of jail free card worldwide. If you're charged, the embassy will fix it for you. That is not true. Michael Schmidt says, Gruß aus Deutschland. Vielen Dank. RKI is an addict. The withdrawal will hit him like a rock. He's a clout addict. Germ says, Johnny can't complain about due process while being allowed most of the freedoms without restraints. Johnny only complains because he's guilty. And he's only complaining because the bomber is over the target. I am hitting him directly where he is vulnerable. Puka Darling says, Legal Mindset, YouTube with emotional support cabbage sidekick. There you go. Mike Petlow says, performing degrading acts for some small coins. Can't RKI Johnny Somali be charged with prostitution? That would be funny. That would be funny.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
And Baked Buddha says, I have a link for a plushie company if you want, but priorities, you're a VTuber. Yeah, send it to me. Baked Buddha, send that to me, please. Send that to me. I need to know a company to get that done. Shane Armstrong says for 5, sorry, I have the bad habit of being contrarian. I don't disagree with anything regards to RKI. No problem. I'm happy if you chat, today especially, if you ask a respectful super chat and you make a respectful point, I will answer it even if it's a super contrarian position. We can do devil's advocate. I am happy to entertain ideas. I am happy to argue ideas. What I'm not going to argue is people giving ad hominem. So let's get into this. Today, what are we talking about today? I did update this chart, and this is very important. So today we're going to be talking about the not guilties. The reason why we're talking about the not guilties today is because for all of the things he's guilty for, he no longer has a defense. Let me say that one more time. for everything on this list that he is guilty of, he no longer has a defense. He has no defense of anything he's guilty of. So, the first obstruction of business, guilty, no defense. Ramen, no defense. Minor Crimes Act 1, rotting fish, guilty, no defense. Minor Crimes Act 2, disturbing the bus metro, guilty, no defense. Obstruction of business number 2, guilty, no defense. Loud music and monkey noises. Once again, the first time that monkey noises is probably in the legal record in Korean history is the case of Ramzi Khalid Ismail. Forever known for monkey noises and twerking in the Korean legal record. Now, deepfakes and obstruction, not guilty. Now, I changed this last one. It's now orange, and it has a question mark. Why did I do that? Why did Lotte World change? Here's why. After looking at more of the news, about 60% of the Korean news outlets, 60% are reporting that he pled guilty on the new obstruction charge from Lotte World. 60%. 40% are saying he pled not guilty. Because Ramzi says himself that he pled not guilty, I am going to do something that you guys may think is crazy. Legal Mindset, Andrew Esquire, am giving Ramzi Khalid Ismail the benefit of the doubt.
Oh, hell no. Oh, hell.
That's right. We're giving him the benefit of the doubt. Let it not be said that I am not fair when it comes to applying the law. This is something that somebody like Legal Eagle would never do. Because Legal Eagle obviously has a political bias. He has a political bias towards the left. And so if it's anybody on the right, they're automatically wrong. And he's actually openly said that, right? So people would think, oh, yeah, I should just presume that everything he says is wrong. No. Actually, as a lawyer, I am capable of granting an idea to the other side so I can make an argument and destroy it. And now that is an insanity plea for you. No, but like I said, I am happy to... Let's presume you're not guilty on. Let's make you not guilty on this for the benefit of argument, and I am going to destroy your defense on this. I am going to nuke your defense in this stream. That's part of why we're doing this. We present the defense, and then we nuke it from orbit like it's aliens, right? So let's go here and talk about what we got. So let's talk about Lotte World. Talk about Lotte World. Oh, by the way, smash a like button, guys. Please smash a like button. It helps out. We got 7,500 people in the chat. We got to get some likes up. We got to get those likes up. Get those likes up. So Ramzi's argument regarding Lotte World appears to center around the offending message being text-to-speech. He says that he argues that because he cannot control the text-to-speech, he has no culpability, meaning he is not liable. So that's his argument. That's his defense. So I hope you guys can see the problems with this defense. So he's charged with obstruction of business. Now, I'm going to tell you right now, if this was child sexual harassment, this might actually not be a horrible defense. But it's not child sexual harassment. They actually dropped that charge. They may bring it back, and we're actually working with the Somali conviction team to bring that charge back. But for this, it's not a defense. It's not a defense. So, that said, what is obstruction of business? A person who interferes with the business of another by the method of Article 313, 2, or by the force or threat of force. They shall be punished by imprisonment for not more than 5 years or by a fine not exceeding 15 million won. Methods include threat of force, intimidation, spreading false information, disrupting normal operations, blocking access, or otherwise interfering with smooth functioning of a business. So the question is, did he or did he not interfere with a business by disrupting its normal operations? Yes. Yes. The normal operations of a theme park is for the rides to be ridden, the rides to be working, right? Also, security was called. Security is not a normal operation. They don't normally come out to run across the theme park and chase you down while you scream that you are autistic and bipolar. So security showing up and Ramsey fleeing is not a normal operation. The ride being interrupted, which we clearly saw in the video, is not a normal operation. Whether or not he controls the text-to-speech doesn't matter. And by the way, we know he controls the volume of it. We have proof that he controls the volume. He turns the volume up and down. So we know he could have just turned off the volume. It doesn't matter what was said. It matters that it was disruptive and it caused that to be shut down. So to me, it's open and shut. There's no defense here. The other thing that's really crazy too is the court does not like split peas. And I'm not talking about the vegetable guys. Even though it is your right, your due process right, to plead guilty or not guilty to every single charge. So he's pled guilty to 4 and not guilty to 3, let's presume. That's his right. However, the court doesn't like it. And what makes it even more crazy is he's already pled guilty to 2 obstruction charges. Obstruction of business, charge 1, and charge 2, count 1 and count 2. And because he's already pled guilty to these 2, it's kind of ridiculous that for the 3rd, he would plead not guilty, especially when the second one, which was literally text-to-speech and music and monkey noises, many of which were played from the very same speakers, he already said he's guilty. He said, yeah, it is an obstruction of business to play music on the bus, but he's trying to say it's not an obstruction of business to play music in text-to-speech in Lotte World? So it's not okay on the bus, but it's okay in Lotte World? That's your argument? That's really what you're going to argue, bro? You're going to argue that, bro? You're going to come into court and say, you know what, Your Honor? I'm guilty of text-to-speech and music on the bus, but I'm not guilty in Lotte World because it's Lotte World. How does that make any sense? I don't get that. That argument doesn't make any sense to me. It's 39 IQ. 39 IQ emojis in the chat. Noof Jim says for 5 Canadian, why did they drop the child sexual harassment cases if they had video? They had video, but I think it may come down to the text-to-speech and the control over the text-to-speech. And maybe they wanted more info on that. We're going to file that. We also got new stuff he's doing. Johnny is currently sexually harassing children on Omegle. Some of that interactions, he's doing it even now. He's still talking to children online. Well, this is not me making it up. I'm being dead serious. He's talking to minors online, actively. He just was doing it the other day, I think yesterday. Some of that behavior, illegal in Korea. Yeah, I'm not making it up. Yeah, he's still doing that. Yeah, no, what WTF is right. WTF is right.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Louis Cali says room temperature IQ in Celsius. Allison Brown says, is there any statute of law he's broken related to the comfort women? No, there really isn't. He's done so many illegal things. It's the most offensive. I mean, that would be probably the Minor Crimes Act, honestly, because it's something where it's not specifically illegal, which is why the Koreans want to change the law regarding that. Let me read. Repton says, how dare YouTube not notify me? Well, you know now. Michael Rule says, should I be taking notes if you want? Sparks says, RK and Hanky equal emotional sewage. Scarfy Hat for 5 says, I need some kimchi to go with my ribs for breakfast. Oh, that sounds delicious. I had some really good carbonara and steak for dinner. Hurry up and pick my cabbage, Johnny. Thanks for all your hard work. Oh, by the way, Whoever created this meme, let me remove this. I'll reshare this in a second. But whoever created they created a bunch of memes. These are those. I think they generated this one, but this was kind of cute. This is actually too cute to be Somali. Little Somali picking the cabbages. Thank you. There were some others he created. Thank you for that meme. I do appreciate that. I do love the memes. You can share them with me by email or over on X. I do love them. Don't drink the water for 99. Thank you. Said thank you. Awoo Inu for 5 says, has the U.S. Embassy or anyone reached out in response to his cosplay? Not yet. And that's probably one of the reasons why you'll see that nobody is going to come to help him when he's dressed up like a Klan member. You are not going to get any political party, left or right, to help you. Fatty Mo says, isn't Hanky an ex-con? He LARPs as a lawyer. Yeah, he's a felon in the U.S. Techie Nate says, legal beagle plushie when? Frank Pareto says, RKI likes being an imp. A simp for Hank. Sounds like a chimp and an imperative to imprison him. Impossible for parole. Send him to Imple down. Like the, oh gosh, the reference there, the One Piece reference. Rigo for 5 says, changing the wording back to obstruction. Did you give him peer pressure? Yes. I got chewed out by someone who said obstruction is actually right. So there's two people. One said it's, one was like, you should change it for confusion. The other one says, so I did change it back. They made the argument that's the way that the statute reads, so I should make it accurate to the statute. And that's a convincing argument. I can be persuaded, guys. Here's the thing. If people make a good argument, I can be persuaded. And I feel it's fair. I am open to hearing other viewpoints and changing my mind on something. If the evidence is good and the defense is good. Johnny's defenses aren't good. I would assume the Lotte charge would be the hardest to fight since he would be going into a corporation. They bleed him dry. Yes. Their legal team has all the proof they need to sink him. Paul Goodrich is a new member. Thank you. Krypton 00545 for 50 says, what if he says theme park equal noise equal not guilty? No, won't work. Because there's people that clearly saw him and they clearly were reacting to him. Kyung Hwan, Andy 8254 Choi for Ochan says, just a South Korean passing by. Hey, what's up? Annyeonghaseyo. Just a note, you should check Article 37 and 38 of the Korean Criminal Act. Thanks as always. I will. Thank you. Daniel Monroe for $7.99 says, I've sent an email with a funny picture inspired by the movie Ghost. Hope it gives you a laugh. I will check it later. Any update on the potential statute law change? I will need to check in on that. I think it was passed, actually. Wandering Blue says, legal mindset, any update on his sentencing date? It will not be for a while, my friend. You're way ahead of yourself. I plan to go to Korea just to clown him outside the courtroom. Can't film inside, but TikTok's got to eat. Cloud Farm activated. Get on the clown. Get clowned on Baka. Wandering, there's no sentencing. The next court date, which will be witness testimony from a victim, will be in August. If you want to go then. Go in August. If you don't, there'll be other trials. Will probably be going on until December and January. Bob says, in the interest of causing more problems to RKI and Hank, are Korean streamers required to be registered at businesses when their antics interrupting those streamers kind of obstruction? That's a dicier one. X, the great YX is the shade against legal equal blot the sun. I'm not trying to start a little streamer beef here. I'm just being honest and transparent with you guys. I don't lie about stuff. I mean, that's genuinely the reason why I got on YouTube. And, I'll say something nice now, because you should always say something nice. Obviously runs his channel very well in terms of getting views and clicks and subscriptions, and he knows his audience because his audience does like that stuff. Phil for 100 Thai Bot says, shout out from Konkan. Hey, I'm going to be in Konkan in a week or two. Michael Ruiz is pleading not guilty only means it's going to take longer at this point. Yes, guilty would be quicker. MJ said, is the court transcript out? And basically the plea, there was never an official transcript. The only transcripts have been from the Somali conviction team. And the reason why I haven't put this one out is because of that not guilty versus guilty and because we're not sure where it is. And there's a conflict. Rayobi says legally minded, it's gone legally insane. Insanity plea, I may, when I put out the transcript, I may have to just put a notation there. Antronics33 says for 50, we all know not able to control TTS is BS, like how you can put heavy filters or set it as one language only. Shake my head. Exactly. Taco World for $7.99 says, good day from Australia. Who do you think has it worse? Hank, because he has to put up with RKI for another year, or RKI, because he won't sit right anymore? Oof, I do think RKI. Radio Scanner is a new member. Thank you. Tim Holstein said, love your coverage of this waste of oxygen. Thank you. And Fitty Tucker, what's up? Fitty says, I've watched their most recent crash out, and goddamn, even my blood pressure is higher than their combined IQ. No goal today? Get golden shower. Did I forget the goal? Oh, I'm sorry. I did forget the goal today. We'll make it a like a very small goal. A very small goal. Here, we'll definitely hit it. For the defense, right? So let's go ahead and make a very small goal here. Thank you guys for remembering the goal. Norbert Froelich says, ich nochmal. Follow up on the previous super chat. I was wondering if RKI still has ongoing costs in the US, like rent, that would get him in deeper financial trouble. I'm unaware of that. I don't know. Ich weiß nichts. Over that. Adrian pretends says, why is Ramsey seemingly not facing punishment for his ongoing income from streaming when he's forbidden from working in South Korea? Because this is a great question. This is an immigration thing. So the immigration authorities will typically deport you if you're working without a visa. But since he can't be deported because he's facing charges, it's kind of something where they're like, well, we normally would just deport him. But since that's not the answer, they haven't done anything yet, but they can fine him on the way out. So they could fine him as he's leaving. Fitty Tucker granted Fitty legal mindset memberships. Thank you so much, Gigabase. Let's play a couple clips for that one.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
Emotional damage.
Are you guys enjoying the stream today?
Very, very awesome stuff there. Also, I didn't know that earlier someone just texted me, Barabata Bastu was an amazing Eurovision reference. I did not know that reference, so I'm sorry I didn't get your Eurovision reference. And I will get Article 3738. I will talk about that on my next stream. So just so you guys know, I will bring that up on my next stream. Okay, let's continue here. So, what about the deepfakes? What about their defense of the deepfakes? So Hank and Ramsey and the lawyer, they all hate the deepfakes. They all think that charge is bullshit. They really, really don't like the law. They disagree fundamentally with the principle of the law of the deepfakes. So that's one of their arguments. And put a pin in that, because there may actually be something they could do, technically, regarding that. There are multiple deepfakes in evidence, not just Bong Bong, Daogun, J Company, Jungman, lots of deepfakes in evidence. And there'll be victim testimony as to the deepfakes on August 13th at 4 p.m. in room 406 in the Western District Courthouse. So what is their defense? Well, their defense is from Ramsey is mostly been four things. Number one, the Shaggy defense. It wasn't me in the shower. It wasn't me on the kitchen floor. Okay, we're not doing karaoke right now. Great song, though. It wasn't me. But can't play it. We'll get copyright strike. But that said, that actually doesn't matter. So to debunk that one real quick, the it wasn't me the Shaggy defense does not matter under Korean law, because as long as you broadcast it, you show it, you're guilty. So even if you didn't create it, you showed it, that's it. So that's the line. So the Shaggy defense falls apart because of the way the law is structured. Because he showed it, that's it. It doesn't matter whether it's Discord made it or Hanky Poo made it or whoever made it. Right. I'm glad you guys like the Shaggy defense. There's also the Scooby defense as well, if you eat all the snacks. Also the Chewbacca defense. Also, Taco World, thank you for the $4.99. Appreciate that. Rigo for 10 says, just to make RK cope and seethe, here's lyrics for a song I'm writing about him. The chorus goes, golden rain, golden rain. Thank you for that. You know they hate it when they see that golden rain. Felix Wu said, for the goal. Thanks for the hard work, Legal Mindset. My pleasure. Thank you for the 78 Hong Kong dollars. Rare and Recruit says, a YouTube short I can't find again. In World War II setting, pilots try to claim insanity to get off a mission. Other person says they have to stay on because they're sane enough to make such claims. Chat, help find for Andrew. I think it's Catch-22. I think that is the movie Catch-22 and the book Catch-22. That's actually Catch-22 being something that is a kind of circular clause, right? It's like pilots are, can only get off for insanity, but like you're insane if you've flown this X amount of flights. It's kind of like a circular logic. Digital Lee for 5 says, how is Jay vasectomy supposed to argue for being not guilty on the deepfakes when even his own lawyer admitted they have no evidence? I know. They have no evidence for not guilty. None. The Duke of Duke says, Hank has been displaying a lot of signs of having undiagnosed PTSD. If he's going to explode one day and is a danger to others, I think he's got a lot of problems upstairs. And you know what? He needs sincere help. And if his family really cared about him, they would get him some help. I mean, you could probably Baker Act that kid if he was in the U.S. Because he is a danger to, I think, himself and others. Peter Park said, working on my 69 Camaro. Well, RKI can never leave Korea. City Collins says, happy Victoria Day, long weekend from Newfoundland. I really think the best defense for the Lotte World charge is insanity. Insanity?
No. Wait.
All right, let's go back to this. No, by the way, thank you, Natasha B, for the 5. Appreciate that. Larry Power says Chewbacca defense. Don't forget the Vader offense. Oh, yeah, the Vader offense. I love that one, too. It's a great one. So the next defense they use is they showed it on stream, too. And once again, I go back to the beginning in my intro, and I'm going to talk about this at the end, too. 99% of what Ramsey and his simps talk about is these other people are bad. And saying they showed it on stream, too, doesn't get you out of what you did. What it does mean is if prosecutors want, they may be able to charge Bong Bong or Jungmann with a crime as well. If they want to. They don't have to. They have no requirement to file to go through with charges. They can say, we don't want to do this for any reason. That's their right as the prosecutor. And the police can say, we don't want to investigate this, right? Even if they file a complaint. So, this kind of ties in with the last one, which is Bong Bong should be shamed or is bad. Remember, their strategy was to kind of slut shame Bong Bong and kind of go after Bong Bong for, having an OnlyFans, etc. That's not going to work. That doesn't get you out of your crime. It doesn't turn your result to a not guilty. You can't say, but Bong Bong is, a woman with loose morals, right? Even if that's true, which once again, who is Ramsey to judge anybody's morality? Let's put that there. But that doesn't change your legal responsibility for the deepfake law. You are still guilty of that and going to serve the time for that. The next is that it isn't that bad. And this one is actually very insidious because remember, he held himself out as the boyfriend of Bong Bong. Said, this is my girlfriend. The problem is, that is very embarrassing. To be the girlfriend of the #1 most hated streamer in all of Asia, perhaps all the world, that is very embarrassing for her. She did not want that, she did not ask for that, and she did not consent to that. She never consented to that. So it's without consent. Bad News Badger for 50 Danish Krona says, I'm not like I'm a snitch or anything. Scrap that. I'm totally a snitch. A little elf girl may or may not have called you legal. I will indeed send her to the mines with those dirty dwarves if she does not behave herself. Agent Pew Pew says, isn't it bomb for your soul for 10 Swiss francs, which is not even enough for McDonald's in Switzerland. I do remember one of my fondest memories, shocking memories, was it was 18 francs for a Big Mac, and I'm like, what the hell is this made of gold? This was I think 10 years ago when I was in Switzerland, but I always loved Switzerland. Beautiful nature. Isn't it bomb for your soul that RKI sees how you make good money by covering his case and he's stuck in Hank's bondage dungeon getting pissed in multiple ways? Yes, pissed off and pissed on and pissed in multiple ways. Yes, that's very true. Norbert Frohlich for 10 says, just some information to let people know that in September last year, Korea passed a law that makes it illegal to view or possess deepfakes that are deemed sexually exploitative. Yes. So the law says it is illegal to view, possess, or broadcast. And it makes it worse if they are sexual and if you broadcast them out to a wide audience. So yes, that is the law. And then John Echeverri for $4.99 Philippine pesos, more than Vitali's weekly stipend. Says, for the goal, keep up the good work. Looking forward to the cabbage. Thank you. Thank you. Norgard Coatsmith says, evidence he's not guilty, no innocence. There is an innocence presumption, but Norgard, I'm being realistic about how court works, even in America. Even in America, when we're innocent until proven guilty, if your defense lawyer gets up and says, I have nothing to say, the chances of you prevailing are low if the prosecution has made a competent case and presents some evidence, and it's not just something totally made up. If the prosecution puts on any sort of decent case and you say nothing, the chances are that the prosecution is going to win. It's just probability. I'm calling the odds. Yes, there's a presumption of innocence, but that doesn't mean that you have this ultra strong, this 99% chance to win no matter what. In fact, the conviction rate in Korea is 98% for the prosecution. So even with evidence and a defense, it's still 98% prosecution win. Think about that for a second. So if Johnny has no evidence and the prosecution has a 98% win rate, do you think he's going to be in the 2% that win? I think the 2% that win are very sympathetic cases where there's a lot of evidence on the other side. Stone Samurai TV said, glad you're streaming. I do night shifts as a security guard, and this is a nice way to unwind. Yeah, I do two different formats. I do this and the fast facts version, which will be after this, and we'll feed into this. So we'll feed into that. So if you want the fast facts version, you can stick around as well. I also sometimes deliver things differently during fast facts, so it's interesting to see how I pitch it one way and another. Caesar said, just coming to say hi. What time is there? It is 9:39 p.m. Mary H99 for 10 says, RKI should remember that Hank has a vested interest in keeping his BFF in South Korea since Hank can't re-enter the U.S. Is Hank really helping you, Johnny? Is that tax lawyer? Yeah, and once again, I'm reading the super chat. I have no reason to believe his actual lawyer is incompetent. His lawyer may be very, very competent, in fact. We don't know that, but I can tell you one thing. Hank is not a lawyer, and Hank thinking he's a lawyer is actually crazy. Okay, somebody's already emailed me the Article 37. The Article 37 here. We're going to talk about Article 37 and 38 next stream. We're going to talk about Article 37 and 38 next stream. Keela Brutini for $4.99. Thank you. Nona SOF for 5 says, is a preference for cabbage punishment also prevalent in Korea? And will the judge take public sentiment into account when deciding punishment? They're not supposed to, but let's be honest. Public sentiment affects stuff. Public sentiment does affect stuff. However, I think there's more than enough evidence to put him away, even regardless of sentiment. Luminous Artist says, have you seen the clip of RK crashing on his chat for insults? Yeah, I've seen a lot of that. When confronted by Hank, all he could say is, at least they're not saying I'm coping and seething. Good work to you and the team. Yeah, we live rent-free in their head. Captain Colombo says, if and when he's deported, can the U.S. refuse to take him back? Please say yes. No, they cannot. That would be nice, though, but they cannot. Robert von Beek for 6 says, does South Korea have something as group insult, referring to local laws now, that could cover a lot of his nonsense? I don't think so. I don't think so, Robert. Good question, but I don't think so. But a bunch of people can bring claims for insult. So if somebody insulted, like a lot of folks, like for example, Hank insulted people's mothers, all of those people can bring individual claims and file individual crimes. Rare Recruit says, to reiterate, the comfort statutes hold no legal weight against Johnny. It did hold weight from disapproval from the Korean people, removing sympathy. Yes, 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 yes. This is it exactly. You got the point exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him.
There it is. There it is. All right, let's continue. The best defense for Johnny Somali and the deepfakes may be constitutionality. Now, hear me very carefully, people. I am not saying this is a winner. It's like the shiniest turd in the bucket of turds. But in that bucket of a whole lot of turd, there's a shiny turd. There's a shiny Pokemon turd. And it's constitutionality. I think, once again, it's my personal opinion, not legal advice, but I think constitutionality may be the best quote-unquote defense. Why? Let's go back here. Hank and his lawyer and Ramsey, they all dislike the law. They think it's unfair. They think it violates freedom of speech. So if they think it violates freedom of speech, they should challenge the constitutionality. They should say it's unconstitutional. And there's a chance they can win. Now, the chance is very low. It's very, very low. I think less than 1%, but it's possible. It is definitely possible that they could win. So you're saying there's a chance? Yes. There is a possibility they can win this. However, there's a lot of constraints to them bringing a constitutional claim. And remember, guys, constitutional claims, what that is, it's saying this law, the deepfake law, is unconstitutional. That's what they would have to say. Constitutional claims are very common in most countries around the world. The U.S., we have the U.S. Supreme Court. In Korea, there's a constitutional court. In Thailand, there's a constitutional court. In Philippines, lots of places, there's a constitutional court, which says, is this in line with our constitution, with our rights that are enshrined in our country, or the highest law of the land? And there's a problem with this, though. Here's the problem with this defense. There's multiple. Number one, you need a guilty verdict or a guilty plea. He pled not guilty. So he's got to go through the entire trial to get a guilty verdict, and then he can do it. Number two, it's extraordinarily expensive. Lawyers are not working for peanuts. And this is not something that they're going to do on an IOU. They are not going to do this for an IOU. So this is something that would take years, and the lawyer's not going to do it for free. It also, like I said, appeals take time. It could be years that this appeal goes. And here's the best part. He's in jail while it's going on. He's in prison behind bars during that appeal process. So he's got to sit and wait for that appeal. Beyond that, there's no guarantee of victory. So he could spend all that time and money and all that effort, and he could still lose. But I still would say it's one of the best defenses. There's another good defense, and here's one that I think a lot of you may be thinking of. And maybe you'll say it in the chat. Maybe some of you will say it in the chat. I'm going to look at the chat here. I'm going to read these couple chats, and then we're going to talk about another defense of Ramsey. Mark G gave a new One Legal Mindset membership. Also, are you the Florida man in Bangkok? Well, shout out to a fellow Florida man in Bangkok. Kyla Boutini says, I'm from LA, and perfect timing. I'll be in Korea for the first time in August during a trial. How's the courtroom? Far as from Gangnam, hope to meet you. I may or may not be there. It is about an hour from Gangnam. I usually stay in Gangnam and commute. Ryobi says, IRC, the deepfake existed because school faculty were deepfaked with students, and they were rightfully upset. And more than that, no, it was more than that, Ryobi. So look up the Nth Room stuff. They were using deepfakes for blackmail. So they would create sexual deepfakes of women and blackmail them into having sex with them, or sending them other nudes, or doing other embarrassing stuff, or sending them money. It was disgusting and horrible. And there's a huge problem with deepfakes. And with teachers and students, it can be really bad. And little, once again, classmates and we're talking people that are underage, it gets really bad. James Beeching said, it's not too bad is not an argument against the fact it could be used to mitigate. Sure, it could be used to mitigate the sentencing, but that's not an argument you use during this phase of the trial. We're at the is he guilty or not guilty phase. That's where we're at right now. And that's what we're going to be till August. So until August, we're going to focus on the not guilty stuff. and how he's guilty of the not guilty stuff from a legal perspective. And we'll see what arguments they try to bring up or what arguments. And to the extent that Johnny brings up a cognizable legal argument, I will acknowledge that and destroy it and argue against it, right? But once again, the other people did a bad thing is not a legal argument. Scarfy Hat says, I'm really baffled as why Hank still supports RKI. He's nothing but a leech. And if Hank is smart and tough as he wants to portray himself, then why? Yeah, exactly. A real smart, tough guy does not tolerate leeches. Finny Tucker for 10 says his public defender got removed because he got a public attorney, paid attorney. If he runs out of money midway, would they reinstate the defender? Yes. Yes, they indeed would. Right? Let's see here. Rotten Mango did a video about the nth room. Yes, she did. Captain Columbo said it's a burden of proof on the defense. No, it's not. It is not on the defense. Shadow Lux Richie says if he gets fined on the way out by immigration, does he go to the cabbage fields? I believe so. Also, thanks for the membership. Lord KJW said, would there be any difference if he pleaded no contest? No, there's no such thing as a no-low plea. Good legal knowledge for the U.S., but there's no no-low. Honey 2800 2800 says a shiny turd explosion appeared. Go Cabbage! Use humiliation. All right, let's continue. Here's another option. Johnny. Plead guilty, buddy. Plead guilty. If Johnny Somali pleads guilty, that actually is his best defense. His real best defense is to plead guilty. I already said it. The court does not like this split time and does not like that you're wasting time. Plead guilty, buddy. Switch your plea. You could say you were confused. You could switch it over. You could save everybody some time. Change your plea. That is actually genuinely, I think, the best advice, the best defense strategy that he has that's realistic. The most realistic defense for Johnny is to get on your knees, genuinely be contrived, plead guilty for everything, and beg for mercy. And see what happens. On your knees. He's not going to do it. And also to stop defaming people, apologize to everybody, and see where it goes. Rayobi says, I'm going to do this because Chad is asking, could RKI use his ethnicity as a play to get larger sentencing since most people aren't aware? No, they all know that he's not Somali. They all know. They all know about his lies and his BS. It's been exposed. Natasha B says, RKA nursery rhymes. Monday, Tuesday, cabbage. Wednesday, Thursday, cabbage. Friday, Saturday, cabbage. Sunday, for a change, cabbage rolls. Oh, nice. All right. Also, I'm going to debunk some fan stuff. So first of all, most fans, quote unquote, which, once again, low IQ, missing a chromosome, if you're a fan of Hank or Ramsey, but they say one of two things. And also, by the way, they say these about Vitaly as well. Number one, what Ramsey did isn't that bad. And number two, you can't be punished for these type of things. Well, number one, clearly the prosecutor feels it's that bad. And number two, you can be punished. People have spent years in jail just for obstruction of business. But it's not just that. It's deepfakes as well. So people have been jailed for deepfakes, have been jailed for obstruction. And the prosecutor clearly doesn't think they're a joke or insignificant, or they wouldn't have brought them. And it is not a defense to make a personal attack against myself, against other YouTubers like Atozi, etc., social media figures, Dr. Ulrich, Dalgoon, Korean streamers, Bong Bong, the law enforcement, the cops, the judge, the prosecutor, Korea in general. Attacking these people with personal name calling is not going to be a defense. It's not a legal defense. It doesn't make you not guilty. You're still guilty. You're still guilty. Jason said plead guilty and beg for a plea bargain. There's no plea bargains in Korea. So that's a very important factor. There's no plea bargains in Korea. I'm going to leave up this chart here so you guys see it. Once again, I did color the last obstruction orange because we think that he is probably going to go with not guilty. Ramsey asserts that he's not guilty. And even though it's a 60-40 split, even though 60% of the media said he pled guilty and 40% said not guilty, I want to give Ramsey the benefit of the doubt. I know it's insane, but I'm giving him the benefit of the doubt because I destroyed his defense. Bravo Aleph for 5 says, Andrew, do you know what cases the prosecutor is famous for and what she got awards for? I don't know that. All I know is she got an award. Abdullah Al-Ali Il Buffalo for 25 dinar, UAE dinar, says there is a chance that Somali have no jail sentence. There is a chance. Yes, Abdullah, there is a chance. I've been very honest about this. It's called a suspended sentence. It is possible. If he is convicted of the deepfakes have what's called, dirham, not dinar. Sorry, that's wrong. For the currency for the UAE. I usually get all my currencies right. That's a mistake there. Mi scusi. All right. Anyways, with the deepfakes, it's mandatory prison time, but they could still give a suspended sentence, which is kind of like probation, saying, you know what, we're going to let you off. They could do that. It would be insane for the judge to do that, but they could. Someone says I'm out of the loop, but thought it was rewarded. No, I changed it back because I got yelled at. My Korean senpai yelled at me. My oppa over there in Korea yelled at me. And I don't want to be yelled at by oppa, so I changed it back. Mercenary X21 says, I'm telling you, illegal. RKI is getting 40 years. His ego is that bug. His pride won't let him have the realistic plea. He will make it worse and get 40. Dorf Knox for 1,000 yen says, couldn't Ramsey's strategy be to continue to rack up new charges and delay his sentencing indefinitely for years? It's possible. It's possible he'll be in Korea forever then. Hank better get a forever roommate, you know. Asian Dragon 456 is a problem for his plea not guilty. He wastes so much time to go on live and defamation on other people and Andrew. How is he going to find some evidence he's innocent and prove it? There was somebody that sent the deepfake. Remember, Asian Dragon, it doesn't matter if somebody else sent the deepfake. He broadcast it. So that one doesn't matter at all. He broadcast it. And they also had his phone. So they know what was on his phone. So he's screwed with the deepfakes. Shane for 2 Euro says he can't apologize. Nobody would believe it's sincere. No. Gary Lee says, I hope Hank's behavior hurts his mom reputation. Now, this is one. Now, Gary, I read the super chats, but I want to say I do not approve of that sentiment. I think people's parents need to be left out of stuff. I think that's inappropriate to drag them into it. However, it is true that her reputation has been hurt. Even Hank said that. Even Hank said the family is embarrassed of him, that he is this black sheep of the family because of what he's done. Kazumi for 100 Swedish krona says, this is still just a charge for one district. Yes, indeed. No, wait, hold on. Sorry. The districts are now all merged. So this is all in the West. All the stuff from the East appears to have come to the West. So it appears that now, finally, all the charges have been merged into the Western District. Now, there are still charges that have not come through yet. That's because I think they're processing. More may come, but they're all in the West now. They're all in the Mapo District, the Western District. All right. Guys, it's been awesome. Please stick around. There is a fast facts that is going to be coming out literally in just 2 minutes, running through this at minimum. Do me a solid, stay on the video, let it redirect you, smash the like button, smash it hard, smash it like it's them going to jail, and I will deeply, deeply appreciate that. It helps out the channel very, very much. I'll get this last one. Pesticide says, can you comment on the suggestion that he put his fingers in the judge's mouth? I would not do that. However, they're free to do some.
You are coping the ceiling. You just can't believe what you're seeing. It's you coping the ceiling. truth, it is all day. And now you are more than